Hello, everyone, and very, very welcome to today's Power Up Call in August. It's time to turn it up, and thanks to everybody who's joining today, despite the lovely weather, at least here in Munich. To those of you who might not know me yet, because you can see is not my colleague Reiner Limburg today hosting the call. My name is Katja Pillmann. I am new to the company and I am taking over today this Power Up Call because my colleague Reiner Limburg is in his very well deserved holidays. And before we start, I know that some of you might know me already or have met me at our amazing event in Dubrovnik at the Ascent, but some of you might not know me yet, and that's why I would like to introduce myself a little bit so you can get to know me a little bit better and know what I'm actually doing. So my name is Katja Pillmann, and I have been with ASEA since the 1st of June. And I am here in the role as a business development manager. And ever since I have gotten to know a lot about the company, got to know the culture, the amazing colleagues, the associates, especially at this event in Dubrovnik. But of course, you might want to know what is my professional background. And my professional background is actually training, learning and development, education. I have been in this field before. I spent a few years in the automotive industry, and afterwards I spent 9 years in another network marketing company doing training and education, taking care of the training activities there, working very closely with business partners in the field. So the industry is not completely new to me. And but now I'm very happy to be here with ASEA and happy to host this call today. And we are going to have a really interesting topic today. It will be basically about the culture of ASEA, which I got to know a little bit more about during the event in Dubrovnik. And as I'm learning more about the products, the associates, the way the associates work, but also about the culture, I realized that one of the core values, humanity, plays really a big part. And I could experience that, especially throughout the Ascent. I got to know the founders of the company, the associates, and what really impressed me was the openness, the kindness, the authenticity, and the close cooperation between all of the people there. So this aspect of humanity plays a really big role. And what we are going to look into today is a topic that I find super interesting. And it's a topic that is even on top to the regular business of ASEA. It is the ASEA Advancing Life Foundation. And what do I like about this topic? I love that not only what they accomplish, but also the emotional impact it has to the people that are being supported and also to the people that support this foundation with all their heart. And for this topic today, I have invited 2 guest speakers. I'm very happy they are here today. And I would like to share with you who we have today. So we will talk about the ASEA Advancing Life Foundation. And one of our first guest speaker is Robb Bruce. He is a managing director, UX user experience, but also a board member of the Advancing Life Foundation. And secondly, we have Sissel Andersen. She's triple diamond executive, and she has been to one of the expeditions that the ASEA Life Foundation was going through in Guatemala, and she will share some of her experiences and the activities that she did there. And I'm very excited about this. And later on, I will also give you some updates from ASEA, some reminders, some very general information that you might need for your business. But now let's get started with our first speaker. And I would like to hand over to Robb Bruce. He's Managing Director, User Experience, and Board Member of the ASEA Advancing Life Foundation. And I'm very happy you are here, Robb. And I have already said a little bit about you, but I would love you to introduce yourself and also let us know how you became part of the ASEA Advancing Life Foundation.
Yeah, Katja, thank you so much. It's so great to be here with all of you. This is my first power-up call where I'm presenting to our Europe team, and it was so great to see people popping on from Finland and Sweden and Denmark and UK and Hungary and France and all the rest. I'm just so excited to be here. Yeah, a little bit about me, since I haven't had the chance to meet with many of you. I joined ASEA a little over 3 years ago, almost 3.5 years. I've been in marketing for the better part of 30 years, and I was in financial services marketing for about 24 years. And there's a lot of similarities when I was in financial services marketing and now in direct sales. I really feel that what we do from a marketing perspective, we're here to support our sales force. That's why we exist. And so there's so many similarities there. And I just feel so at home with ASEA, and I have since the very, very, very beginning. So yeah, why I joined the board or the foundation is near and dear to my heart. As I was looking to get into corporate marketing and direct sales specifically, one of the things that I saw immediately with ASEA when I just visited the website or looked at social media was that the company's values were front and center. I mean, explicitly on our website. And Katja, as you mentioned, it's not just things like growth and performance, which are very important, but values like collaboration and humanity. I worked in financial services for years, and I never really talk about people that way. And then when I interviewed and, I was told that, hey, in this industry, we hug. I'm like, I worked for the same company for 24 years and never hugged anybody, right? Those types of things really made an impact for me. And then when I got the job, one of my first assignments as director of communication at the time was to review the impact report for the foundation. And the impact report is something that the foundation puts out every year that summarizes all of the great work and impact that it is doing across the world. And for me, not that I needed reassurance that I made the right decision, but I made the right decision. And again, that was my very first or second week. So that made an impact on me personally. And then about 1.5 years ago, there was an opportunity. I was asked to be on the board, and I didn't have to think twice. And so I've been very, very happy to not just contribute financially as I've done since the beginning, but really help to make meaningful decisions and impact with the foundation as a board member.
Nice. Thank you so much for sharing. You also have prepared something that will give us a little bit more details about what are actually the key initiatives of this foundation. And I will stop sharing my screen and lead over to you. And I'm very curious. And maybe you can just not talk about the key initiatives that you're doing, but also a little bit about numbers later on, because I know you have prepared something.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Kesha, I just want to make sure my screen is coming through okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so, with the foundation, we have several key initiatives that we really are focused on. And, as an extension of ASEA's mission to be a force for good in the world and to better people's lives, the ASEA Advancing Life Foundation's mission for more than 10 years now has been to break cycles of poverty, abuse, and suffering. And this, again, is not just in the United States where ASEA is headquartered, but throughout the world. And not only in markets where we're open and do business, but wherever help and support is needed most. And so we focus on 4 different things. One is education. And I'll be going through a lot more detail in the slides to come, but just 4 main things: education, human trafficking, that is throughout the world and could be very much just next door, and it disproportionately affects children. We are also focused on helping to solve food insecurity and disaster relief, whether that's from storms or wars. And then finally, and since the beginning, really helping to provide clean water. So many of us, myself included, I think about it now so much because I'm part of the foundation, but I turn on my faucet or I turn on my shower, I have clean water in my refrigerator. We take that for granted. That is not the case unfortunately, in other areas of the world.
Yeah. And when you do put these initiatives into practice and you accomplish so many things, I know you're not solely working on your own. You also have a few partnerships globally. Maybe you can mention a few of them and tell us a little bit about like how you distribute the work and how this partnership looks like.
Absolutely. So yeah, great segue to this. You mentioned a few partnerships. We have 18, almost 20 that we've been working with in 2022 and this year in 2023. The reason why we form these partnerships is these are organizations who are already doing great work in communities for families and individuals who need that. So they're basically on the ground, so to speak. They know the communities, they know what works. Oftentimes they're part of the communities themselves. So in partnering with them, again, they know what works, they know what matters and what's going to make the most meaningful impact. Just as a couple of quick examples, Speak Up for the Poor, which is kind of toward the center, the bottom. It's a newer partnership for us over the past couple of years, but they work primarily through our partnership in Southern Asia, where unfortunately a lot of young women are sold into being child brides. And so through their work, we're helping to deliver quality education, dorms where they can live and be safe. And so far, just in the past couple of years with our partnership, more than 100 women are receiving a very quality education in colleges as well as nursing schools. So again, that's just one example, but we do that type of work through every single one of these partners throughout the world.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And now I would say we go a little bit more in detail about these separate or these single key initiatives. And I know you have prepared some numbers. Just one comment from one participant. I thought it's just us seeing the speaker's view, but can you switch to presentation mode?
1 second, let me see what I've done here.
Perfect.
So would it be better to do it this way then?
Well, can you switch to presentation mode? We still see all the slides.
So I'm in presentation mode now. Does that work?
Well, it works. We just see the other slides a little bit shown up, but let's continue like this. It doesn't really make a huge difference and doesn't really disturb much.
Okay, so sorry about that, you all. So yeah, let me, again, I really want to impress upon you all the impact that the foundation is making and the impact that we're making because of whether it's manpower, the volunteer hours that the ASEA Global Family and others spend, financial donations, as you mentioned, and I know Sissel's going to talk about actually being on the ground during expeditions as well. But because of all of those things, here's some impact that we're making. So with education, we really feel that that is so foundational to helping break those cycles of poverty in particular. And so just over the years, we have built 2 schools in Ghana and Africa, where children are able to go to school, get an education, and be safe in very clean, up-to-date, modern facilities. We have also helped to reopen 2 schools in Cambodia, and we've been doing a lot of work in Cambodia for almost a decade now. We have been there's an Intercara vocational center that we have established in Latin America. Since we established that a couple of years ago, more than 600 people have received advanced degrees. Again, they're able to find jobs and careers in their community, break the cycle of poverty for themselves, their families, and uplift their communities. We've helped to open 2 reading programs and 2 computer labs in Guatemala. So, I mean, that is incredible. And we have also helped, this is a newer partnership and effort, but the Navajo Nation in the United States, which is actually not too far from where I am in Salt Lake City at corporate, one of the poorest areas in the world. But we have opened a plumbing lab at their technical college. So again, amazing impact with education alone. Moving on to human trafficking. Again, very much on the ground with some of the partners that I highlighted in the earlier slide, but also working directly with non-government organizations or NGOs that are helping to eradicate human trafficking. And as I mentioned, particularly child sex trafficking. So some impact that we're making here. We recently, and this is in the United States, we have helped to fund 50 free medical clinics and training the facility and the doctors there to identify when patients come in who may be a victim of sex trafficking. And so helping to rescue those young people in particular from those situations. We have helped to build 2 internet crimes against children centers, ICAC. I would like to point out that one of these centers established recently is in Ukraine. So we're making a difference in Europe as well, in very needed areas of the world. We have helped to fund 5 police dogs who are trained to help rescue, to help spot electronic surveillance information as well. And over the years, and this is very meaningful, we have helped rescue 582 survivors from these situations and 130 arrests.
Oh, wow.
So it's not just that we're establishing these centers, we are actually making a difference in the lives of individuals. Moving on to food insecurity and disaster relief. So once again, we partner with on-the-ground nonprofits that bring immediate relief to victims, whether that's general food insecurity through food banks or because of storms or, as I mentioned, wars. We have built 4 hoop houses in the Navajo Nation, and this photo there is an example of a hoop house. It's basically a greenhouse, and in the Navajo Nation, as I mentioned, is extremely poor. There are very, very few grocery stores, places where people can go and buy food on a regular basis. So these greenhouses allow small communities within the Navajo Nation to grow fresh produce, and it's amazing to see the impact that that's making. We have helped to plant 12 gardens in Cambodia. Once again, the global reach, food and aid provided in Ukraine, in Queensland and Australia, and after storms in Florida and Kentucky this past year in the United States, helping there as well. And over the years, we have made 1.25 million meals possible. I'll also mention, this just happened yesterday. Maybe you have heard of the terrible fires in Hawaii, just
Yes.
devastating. The board made the decision yesterday to make a donation through a food bank in Hawaii. So again, on the ground. And with our donation, we will literally be providing thousands and thousands of meals to people who are in Hawaii and unfortunately being impacted negatively. So hopefully helping them a little bit through this struggle. Finally, we are dedicated to provide clean water. Again, it can't be understated or overstated rather how important this is. Mm-hmm. It's foundational to life, but it allows then for people to worry less about that, perhaps focus more on their education or getting a job. So it's meaningful in so many ways than just having clean water. But we have established 260 clean water wells in Cambodia. I will say that 10 of those wells are thanks in part to our family in Europe. So thank you all for making that happen. 14 clean water wells in Africa, and we've only started our work there over the past couple of years. And one of those wells, again, thanks to our family, to all of you in Europe, you're helping us make a difference. 776,000, almost 77,000 people now have access to clean water who would not have before. And I'm sorry, I went through that a little bit fast. So that is, again, just some stats, some impact that we're making.
Yeah. You were not finished?
We're not. I have one more thing that I would like to cover before we hand it over.
I just wanted to say, I think these numbers are really amazing. And thank you so much for sharing this. And what I also wanted to mention, just like you said, all these initiatives, especially when it comes to water, when it comes to education, we all take this so for granted. And it's really amazing what you do to support those people for whom these things are just not ordinary, right? And you already have the slide up, but I think a lot of people, the associates might be wondering, how can they actually help? Can they donate? Is there a possibility to volunteer somewhere? And what can they do?
Yeah, absolutely. There are so many different ways to become part of the organization, to make a difference. And a few dollars, euros, or pounds goes a very long way. An hour or so here and there also goes a long way. So one of the easiest ways, really, in terms of time to make an impact is through a financial donation. You can do this one time, anytime, or you can establish this as an ongoing donation. I also want to stress that ASEA matches your donations dollar for dollar, euro for euro, pound for pound. So you're basically doubling the impact. Now you can do this in a couple different ways. You can always visit the foundation's website at advancinglife.org. Again, that's advancinglife.org to make your donation. You'll actually be greeted with a pop-up immediately. So it's one click away. You can also visit your VO. If you go into the shopping cart on the VO, there is a specific category for the Advancing Life Foundation. So you can establish that, make a one-time donation there, or you can add that to basically an auto ship or a subscription. So that way you don't have to think about it on a monthly basis. Your donation gets to the foundation. So again, very easy. Please consider that. Your dollars, pounds, and euros goes such a long way. Another way is through volunteering. We do on an annual basis, it's usually late spring to early summer. We host and coordinate an impact week. So at corporate, we do things like assembling food kits, we've woven blankets, but you also in Europe have done your own service week. So last year, or this most recent year, I'm sorry, it was last year, was basically you raised the money to make that well in Africa possible, right? So throughout the world, people are rallying around our service week. Awesome, thank you, please keep it up. Those of you who will be attending Global Convention, I don't think that's many of you, but I did want to mention this as well. On Saturday morning of Global Convention, we will be having a service project. We will be assembling hygiene and kits for the homeless, as well as weaving mats for sleeping. So you can get involved, you can spend 10 minutes, you can spend 3 hours with us, whatever makes the most sense for you. And then finally, and I know as Sissel is going to talk about, we do host regular expeditions to areas throughout the world. We have built schools in areas, we have built wells, and we've done Cambodia, Guatemala, Ecuador. So that is another way that you can get involved. We do have an amazing expedition planned for next year that Kim Marie, who is our chair of the foundation, will be announcing to the global field from stage. So that will be General Session 2 during Global Convention. So that will be on Friday. So I'll just quickly plug, if you don't have your virtual ticket, get your virtual ticket to learn that and so much more during Global Convention.
And if I want to participate in an expedition, what must I do? I just contact you? I just contact the foundation? How does that work?
Yeah, so a couple different ways. And I'll go back to establishing the financial donation. With just $20 a month, which I think is about 18 euro, maybe around 16 pounds a month, you become part of the foundation's donor alliance. So through that, you actually get advanced look at what the expedition is coming up. So that is a great way to be able to participate. And then if you increase your donation to around $50 a month, which again, I think is around 45 euro, 40 pounds, then you're starting to be provided with discounts from being able to participate in those expeditions. So again, that's one of the best ways. You're getting advance notice. But then also, I would recommend tuning in. Kim Marie will provide directions for getting tickets, for getting on expeditions in the future.
Thank you so much. Thanks for clarifying this, Rob, and thanks for all the numbers. It was really interesting to see the impact that it had already, like right where it's needed. And we have seen a lot of numbers, but I can imagine that once you're with this expedition, when you're volunteering, it's not just that you're proud that you have created something together, but it also has an emotional impact. And I would like to lead over now with regards to this topic to Sissel Andersen. I think all of you, or most of you, know Sissel. She is a triple diamond executive, member of the $1 Million Club, and also of the advisory council. And she's going to share today her experiences that she had in Guatemala. She will also talk a little bit about the emotional side of it, because I can imagine there is a lot of emotions coming up, especially when we come from a world where we are used to having clean water, where we're used to having education, and then being able to support somebody who is really happy, just have something that for us is really basic. So I really want to welcome you, Sissel. I'm happy you are here today to talk about your experience. But first, of course, I want to give you the chance to introduce yourself a little bit more, and also let us know what has inspired you to be part of such an expedition.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I live in Oslo, Norway. I have been an entrepreneur since 1987, so it's closing into 40 years. I have built traditional businesses, I've built network marketing businesses, and I have been with ASEA for more than 8 years now. And honestly, I really, really deep in my heart believe that we can all be a force for good in this world. And I have participated donating to the organization since the inception of it. And a few years ago, we decided it probably was time to actually do some work as well, not only give money. It's easy to just give money in many ways. So we also decided to go on a expedition. And I think it was originally the Ecuador expedition we decided for, but then COVID came and a lot of things happened, so it eventually ended up with this year to Guatemala, and it was absolutely, it was a life-changing event for us, trip. Yeah, it was. Yes, it is very emotional. So yeah. I don't know how, do you want me to continue to talk, or I know that you have some pictures?
No, thank you. I would really want to ask you, like, how did it all start? Like, how did you get there? Where was this place that you went to? Was it close to a big city? Because a lot of times these areas are pretty secluded. So maybe tell us a little bit more about this. What kind of project was it? And also, what were the activities? You have sent me a picture, and maybe let's start right off with this one, because we see many kids there, people from the corporate team. Tell us a little bit about what you experienced there. What were the activities? What did you do? Yeah, tell us everything.
Yeah, so this was a project with a company called, on our organization called Co-Ed. And it's right in your lane. You have been educating people for many years. So in Guatemala, it's like this, that 1 out of 3 people cannot read. And reading is really, really crucial in order to get a job and to get out of poverty. So this co-ed project that the organization have donated to, they have different programs from the small children and up to people in high school and also further education. And we visited different schools and different projects every day. And we also participated in labor work like painting, bookshelf, painting schools, etc. So this is a picture from the first school we visited. And you see they are small children. And this is Co-Ed's Spike reading program. And they see that people, the children that participate in this program, they actually read more than how should I say this in English? Sorry for my English. They're learning twice as much as people in normal school. So in Guatemala, all children are obligated, or they can go to school, but most parents cannot afford them to go to school, because even the bus ticket is too expensive for them, and they need their children in the fields making like vegetables and things like that, doing work on the farms and so on. So this was a school close to Antigua, and it was absolutely wonderful to visit in the classrooms. We were only like 24, 25 people from ASEA. Actually not too many distributorships or associates either, only around 10. And the rest of the crew was actually then from ASEA workers. They are employed with ASEA,
Yes.
and they also took out of their own pockets and traveled there and took a week of vacation and, you know, did this work. So it was, yeah, maybe you should ask me some questions.
Yeah.
I'm just not bubbling away.
Yeah, so you visited, how many schools did you visit?
So we visited 3 different schools.
Mm-hmm.
No, 4, sorry, 4 different schools. 4 different schools.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so not just one, it was like a little complex of many more and many schools that you you went to visit.
This was the first school, and here you can see the children are very small, so it's almost like kindergarten as well. But
Yes.
they have a very very smart way of teaching the kids. Very not only reading and learning that way, but also through work and through drawings and trying to understand what does it really mean, what you have read and things like that. So it's a very, I don't know, yeah, it's very special program, and I really enjoyed watching how they were learning.
You also shared a lot of pictures with me, and I'm going to go over some of them, and maybe you can say a little bit what you did there, because it looks like each of the pictures has a little bit of a stories behind. It was kind of different activities. I saw you were painting a school, so maybe let's dive a little bit deeper into this. I see something here. A little girl, and you're doing like some handcrafting, or what was the target behind this activity?
So this was one of the days we also visited the families, and we were divided in small groups, and we visited different families and were invited into their home, really humble homes. And they had, you know, they have balloons, they have welcome things for us, and this girl, her name is Triana. She was sponsored through the co-ed project, and her family, they were 2 sisters and a boy, and they also recently had lost a brother, 2 years old, to drowning. So the family was still in mourning, but still they showed up with their smiles, and they were so happy that we came and wanted to see how Triana is learning in school. Very practical projects she is learning, in addition to also learning to read and write, because she is now starting to be prepared to go out in the world and get a job. So here we were looking at how she was making small baskets, and then from wood, and then she painted them, and then she went to the market or to a local store and had them sold. So these small baskets, when they are painted and really made nice, they are like table decorations for weddings or things like that. So she made that in her backyard. And they also made lunch for us. So we saw how they were cooking outside in the garden. You know, the house it's not like we call a house. It's more like a really small shack. But they were so friendly and so grateful, and Triana was so happy also. So she also took us over to her grandparents' house, which was very close, where she showed us how she is doing gardening and how she was maintaining avocado trees and other things that they all harvested and took to the market when the season for that was. So it was really interesting to see how all these practical things join hands with all the more lectural things.
Yeah. We also have some pictures where you guys were painting. I guess it's a school. Like, can you share a little bit about this? You match very well with the colors, by the way.
It's my favorite color. So you thought people thought I had picked a color. No, I didn't. No, this was a school very much outside the city. It was in the heights, so it was a little bit colder, but it was a big school with a lot of children, all different ages. So we had 2 projects there. One day we painted bookshelves that we have donated to, and we filled them with books. And then the other day we repainted the school. Yeah, so it was a big job to do, but we managed.
But you did this one, just you, the ASEA co-workers, or also together with the children?
No, the children also participated a little bit, but we didn't have equipment for everybody. So some of the children were playing, and some of the ASEA associates were playing with them. So we also brought 2 toys and balls and other things. So we also had a lot of fun in between. And then when the end of the day came, we were not totally finished, but then the parents came. The parents of some of the children came, and they finished up the last piece that we didn't have time to do. So it was a lot of fun, and also very, I mean, I don't speak a word of Spanish, and they all speak Spanish.
That's
here.
what I wanted to ask. How did you communicate? How did
you know,
manage?
body language is absolutely works good. So yeah, it was interesting, very interesting.
Right. And apart from the activities, you also were probably able to get to know a little bit of the culture, and of course also to communicate with the other ASEA corporate people and the other associates. I will share also a video in the next part. Can you tell us a little bit more about this? This is they made food for you as well.
Yeah. In the top left corner, we were they had arranged a Mayan ritual for us up in a place where they have a lot of ruins, and so from the Mayan culture that came to Guatemala. And this was a ritual that has been through generations, but still it was living. Very interesting. Really, what should I say? Well, it was really, we felt so amazingly well treated when they offered this to us. And then the middle picture there is from a restaurant. So that was one of our lunch stops with some of the associate and some of the people from co-ed, and you know, we all mingled all together. We were like 40-50 people all together, so with the co-ed crew as well. So it was a small group, and we got to know each other really well. And we were up like at 5:30 in the morning, and we went really early to bed. So but we managed to get to know each other during the day, and did all the chores together, and also learned a lot. So yeah.
It's probably also a good way to actually disconnect from our regular doings in our modern world, and to really disconnect and dive into a completely new experience, which is probably also very bonding and connecting. And let us share some, I would like to share a video which also shows a little bit the emotions going on. And I think Tyler was also there. He's also saying a few things. And I'm going to start this video, and afterwards I still have some questions for you. So let's start the video. Can everybody see? I hope so.
I love going on the expeditions because it gives us a chance to be with the people that we're supporting. It's one thing to just give people money, but to actually see them, see how it's being used, and to hear them and feel like how grateful they are. You know, it's really a two-way thing, and I think most of the time we get more out of it than they do.
We cannot see the video playing.
Oh.
We only hear the sound. We don't see the video playing.
Thank you for mentioning. Then let me share freshly. Now you should see it. Thank you.
I love going on the expeditions because it gives us a chance to be with the people that we're supporting. It's one thing to just give people money, but to actually see them, see how it's being used, and to hear them and feel like how grateful they are. You know, it's really a two-way thing, and I think most of the time we get more out of it than they do.
So it's one thing to give something and you see the pictures and hear the stories afterwards, but to be actually hands-on and active in the process with painting schools and interact with the children and see how their daily life is something, it's life-changing. It really is also for us.
The first expedition I went on with ASEA changed my life. For those that are making donations to the foundation, you're changing lives. You're changing these students' opportunities and what they will be able to have in the future. I remember reading the book by Melinda Gates about the importance of helping women, but also education. And it's like, I think one of her quotes was, if you educate women in particular, you're educating generations. And that's what's happening here.
Education is the only real tool that gets people out of poverty. So our mission as a foundation is breaking the cycle of poverty here in Guatemala through education. We train teachers. We teach kids how to use computers so they get marketable skills. We give kids scholarships so they have a chance to access school in the first place. And all that working together times, so that's 20, 25 years in a family results in the next generation being born out of poverty.
We've met generations. I've met on this trip people that have graduated from their programs that have gone on to become teachers. I've seen parents that are reading to their children who didn't know how to read and are learning how to read. And I can see teachers have a different vision for themselves. So breaking cycles is not linear. You've got to come at it from many angles. And I can see that this approach here in Guatemala is in fact breaking cycles of poverty, abuse, and suffering for sure through education. The people like you that are watching this video, the people that are a part of our family around the world, whether it's a monthly donation as little as $1, it doesn't really matter. The difference that you're making around the world is extending a legacy, something that really is an extension of my dad's vision in a whole new way. And we couldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you. These children would not be learning what they're learning if it wasn't for you. There's this beautiful relationship between turning your attention outward to other people, particularly people in need, and what it does to you. And I think if you really lean into that and say, if there's something missing in your life, if you don't really feel like you're reaching your full potential, my invitation to you is to turn your attention outward. There's so many people around you in need, and what you're doing for the foundation, what you could be doing for the foundation, will really help you personally. It's a beautiful way of giving back to yourself by giving to others.
I invite you to be part of the ASEA Advancing Life Foundation by making a donation today. You can donate at our website, and every single donation that comes in goes directly to our projects, and ASEA will match your donation dollar for dollar. We are making an impact. Be a part of the foundation and make a donation today.
All right. So that was the video about this project in particular. And even though it was in English, I mean, we could really tell, like, from the emotions going on, how impactful it has been for the children, but also how impactful it has been for you as participants. And a word that came up was life-changing. And I assume you probably have also communicated a lot and exchanged a lot with the other participants. So can you tell us a little bit more about the atmosphere, the emotions that were going on? What was inspiring for you? What did you learn from this? And tell us a little bit more about that, because I can imagine it just not had an impact on the children, on the teachers who are working there, but also for you personally.
Yeah, of course, when you participate in something like this, which is so far away from what we are used to, the way of living, the way of learning, the way of struggling from not even day to day, but hour to hour, it does something with you. It's hard to describe, I think, because well, I just want to do more of this, and I see that ASEA it's a really good tool for us to really earn a lot of money through helping more people with our technology, and then we can circle back and help more people. So the atmosphere we were all equal. Tyler was there with his wife and two of his sons. A lot of the other corporate people were there with their children, and we were all equal. We were all working on the same project. We were just so happy to see that these people could have a better life in the future. And we also learned so much about the Guatemalan population, of course, and we see that 90% of all the children that is graduating from high school, that when they go on these programs, they do get a job. And just as Tyler said, it's a joy to give, but we also get so much in return ourselves. So I think it's very hard to describe in one word or so, but it's more, you have to try it. You have to experience it yourself. So if nothing else, you should really work your ASEA business to be able to go on expeditions like this and help more people, because it is life-changing in so many ways. And I see that we take so much for granted. Nothing is granted in life. Nothing. And I see that even $1 extra a month can make a big difference in people's lives.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. And here we have just one question. Do you see all my screen? Because I feel like something has changed in my Outlook. Okay, then I will start sharing again. Thanks so much for sharing, Sissel, and for your time today. I think it is really an amazing experience, and I have gotten really, really jealous almost. It makes you really motivate to actually participate in something like this yourself, because I think it also broadens your horizon and it takes you out of your daily routine and really makes you appreciate what you actually have. Is there anything?
Can I just mention one thing more?
Yes.
Because this is something you cannot go on a vacation, either on a prepaid a vacation and experience anything like this, and you cannot go on your own experiencing anything like this. It needs to be in this setting with people, like-minded people who are genuinely out there to help other people thrive and become better and a better version of themselves. So this you cannot, you just have to try it. You have to try it in order to understand what it is.
Thank you so much, Sissel, for sharing this, and thanks for your time today. And I think it is probably one of the most amazing experiences that you have had. You told me it was really life-changing for you. And Rob, do you still want to add something? Because I see you popping up in the window.
Yeah, I knew that we were just wrapping up. I just wanted to, thank Sissel, not just for being part of the expedition, but for sharing her experience with me, with you, Katja, with the rest of us as well. Thank you. And thank you for the chance to be here with you all today.
Yeah. Thanks also to the both of you for being here. We will still have some topics going on in this call. Of course, feel free to stay. And I want to thank you both very much for sharing the numbers, of course, sharing what it is that you're doing, but also, of course, thanks so much for Sissel for sharing these very emotional experiences as well. And just one thing from my side to this, there is the side of the ASEA Advancing Life Foundation, and here you can have another look at what they're doing. You see again these main pillars that Bruce was talking about, and on the right corner of the side you also see the donate button. So this is where you can donate, and I can imagine that some of you would love to contribute. So this is where you find everything. And now coming from our main topic to some general information to finish this call. I have some general information to share, some reminders to give, some updates. And the first thing that I want to mention is that the renewal fee waiver qualifications have changed, and they make it easier and simpler now to waive your renewal fees. And what you need to know in order to qualify and waive your next annual renewal fees is that you have to have at least 6 successfully processed orders, subscriptions, or on-demand, including cross-border e-commerce, of 100 PVM plus. For Philippines and Thailand, it's 50 PV plus, and that's since your last renewal. It can be a combination of orders, but it excludes the enrollment orders. And of course, as you know, while it is no longer necessary to have an active subscription with that on the renewal date to qualify, this is still, of course, the easiest way for most people to ensure they have enough orders to qualify for their renewal fee waiver. So much on this. Then I would like to highlight one more event that Rob was already talking about, which is the Global Convention, and it's all under the name We Power Potential. I know that a lot of you probably from Europe might not be able to be there live. Some of you will. But for those who cannot be there physically, you have still the option to buy a virtual ticket. So during these days from the 21st to the 23rd of September, the general sessions will be live streams, and you will get to see a lot of corporate speakers, of course, a lot of leaders, some new product information and talks about the business, and you should not miss this out. So you have still the possibility to buy that virtual ticket under the ASEA Global website and then under convention. And another event that will happen here in Europe, we've already informed you about it, but I would like to remind you, it is the ASEA 2024 European Conference from the 24th to the 25th of February 2024. And it's going to take place in Budapest, in Hungary. And again, we have a lot of international leaders, aspiring speakers from corporate. You will get product information, and it really is a nice possibility to meet with lots of associates and to exchange, and of course also to exchange with corporate. And with that, one day before that, you can still qualify for the Emerging Leaders Training, which is a training that will take place more in a smaller frame. You need to fulfill 2 of the 4 following criteria. First is you are either part of the Executive Momentum Pool earner, or you are an Executive Momentum Pool earner. You have a paid at rank D700 or above for at least 13 weeks. You have successfully completed 2 fast forward challenges, or a minimum of a 1,500 personal enrollment volume generated. The qualification period goes still to the 22nd of December this year, so don't miss it out. It is a great opportunity to develop your skills, to get amazing trainings with regards to business and mindset. And so really don't miss out this opportunity to qualify. And finally, just want to remind you, if you want to have more simpler and more streamlined access to new and ongoing promotions, this is, I want to remind you of our WhatsApp business chat. This is a one-way communication. So you basically receive the latest updates, the latest news on important incentives, events, or power calls or trainings in the format of WhatsApp. If you have additional questions, of course, please contact our associate support team. And yeah, finally, I will leave the barcode here so you can scan it and subscribe to our WhatsApp channel. And yeah, thank you for participating. That was it for me for today. Thank you again to Sissel and to Rob. And I hope you enjoyed this call. And we will see us again in the next Power Up call on the 27th of September. Then it's time to turn it up again. And I hope to see you all again there. Thank you so much for listening and be part of the call today. And see you soon. Bye.